Okay, so good day to everyone. So I would like to discuss to you the module 2, and that is the reviewing the foundations, ideologies, and theories of the economics. So in the module 2, kailangan i-discuss natin yung foundation so that we know kung ano yung mismong kulang or something, ano yung mga pangangailangan ng isang consumer. Di ba? So in economics, we are pertaining about the scarcity and at the same time the opportunity of the operations, and especially if we are referring to the consumers, what are their self-interests or something, ano yung mga gusto nila sa kanilang buhay. Okay? Wherein, ito ay nakadepende sa kung ano yung pangangailangan nila. And at the same time, I would like also to discuss to you the ideologies and the theories of the economics. So if we say theories, so pag-aaralan natin kung sino yung nag-concept or nag-develop on the operations nung mismong economic sector. So may mga i-mention ako mamaya na mga scientists wherein sila mismo yung nag-conceptualize or something nag-study, or they are a philosopher that studied about the concept or the theoretical part of the economic sector. So, unahin natin ang foundations of the economics. So, one of the foundations of the economics, kaya nabuo or na-develop ang economics, it is because of the scarcity. So, sa kahit anong lugar sa ating bansa, sa Pilipinas, there is an scarce. Merong kakulangan. So, doon pa lang sa loob ng pamilya, kaya nga ang economics, if we define economics, it is a study about the household. Wherein, sa loob ng bahay, meron ng kulang doon. Kaya there is an exists of the scarcity. So, a want is something that we desire to have. So, kailangan magkaroon tayo nung mismong dinedesire natin or pinapangarap natin. Example sana, masasabi mong magkakaroon ng scarcity if lahat ng mga pangarap mo or something na mga gusto mong gawin ay hindi mo nagagawa. So, hindi mo mafulfill yung satisfaction mo. Example sana, gusto mong magkaroon ng sasakyan, gusto mong magkaroon ng bahay. Wala naman tayong power or kapangyarihan na once na tayo ay nag-say kung ano yung gusto natin, ay agad-agad nandyan na. Okay? It depends if you are a richest person in the world. But, alam nyo ba, yung richest person in the world, hindi mo na rin mafulfill or hindi niya rin na-fulfill yung satisfaction niya. Meron din siyang scars sa kanyang buhay or kakulangan. Wherein, meron siyang standard. So, kapag mas mayaman ka pala, mas mataas ang standard mo. Pag mahirap ka, so, ang gusto mo, kung ano yung pangangailangan mo or yung needs mo, yun yung inuuna or prina-prioritize natin. But if you have a lot of resources, or if you have many resources, if you have many resources or so much resources, syempre, kung ano yung desires or yung wants mo, yun yung gusto mong i-attain. But not the needs. Magkaiba kasi ang needs sa wants. So kapag need, it means they are essentials or something you are using this in a daily life. And then kapag wants naman, even though hindi mo kailangan, kinukuha mo for your comfort. Di ba? So resources are needed to produce the goods and services that satisfy our wants. However, resources are limited. So our world is very imperfect. So ang mundo daw natin is very imperfect. So we have unlimited wants trying to fulfill using our limited resources. Ang tao kasi walang satisfaction sa buhay. Na kapag meron na siya doon sa part na yon, gusto niya magkakaroon pa ng isa. So ganon ang ang tao, di ba? Next, another one is a trade-off or self-interest. If we say trade-off, so ano yung choice ng isang tao? Wherein yun yung makakapagpabago sa kanya. So when decisions are made, people are always confronted with multiple alternative actions. So, if you have a multiple alternative action wherein meron kang plan A and plan B, so it means that is so-called trade-offs. Another one is, mas pipiliin mo magkaroon ng education kesa job, it means that is an opportunity. Wherein, self-interest. Na kung ano man yung magkakaroon ka ng magandang buhay or yung alam mong magkakaroon ka ng mas magandang outcome, yun yung sinusunod natin based on our decision making. Diba? So, the ultimate decision should be the most efficient. Lahat ng choice natin or lahat ng opportunity, example sana, meron kang dalawang pinagpipilian. Whatever you choose on these two, that is a good decision pa rin. Di ba? Bakit? Kasi nga, in your instinct, they are profitable. Okay? In your instinct, maganda yung magiging outcome niya. Kasi nga, ikaw mismo yung magde-decide. So, doon na mismo magkakaroon ng challenge based on the decision making. Example pa sana, anong mas gugustuhin mo, kumain ng gulay or kumain ng karne? Kung alam mong healthy living ka at gusto mong mapahaba pa yung buhay mo at ikaw ay aware sa lifestyle mo, so it means mas pipiliin mong kumain ng gulay kesa naman doon sa karne na mabilis ka lang mamatay. Okay? Ganun din. Kung gusto mong magkaroon ng magandang buhay or something na malaking sahod later on, mas pipiliin kong mag-aral muna kaysa pumili ng job or something pumasok sa mga trabaho. So, that is the ultimate decision. Now, whatever you choose, that is efficient. And kapag nagkaroon ng magandang kinalabasan or outcome, that is profitable for you. Okay? Kaya nga ang tao binibigyan ng freedom to choose. But if that opportunity na pinili mo ay nagkaroon ng something na trouble, it means that is an outcome wherein profitable pa rin sa'yo. Negative man or positive yung mismong outcome, they are profitable. Why? Kasi nga, you choose wherein yun yung ultimate decision natin. That is a most efficient sa atin in our instinct or in our life. Next, another one is the opportunity costs. So, the foregone benefit of the next best alternative when resources are used for one purpose rather than another. So, what you are missing out on because of the activity you choose to partake in. Example sana, magkakaroon ka din ng choice wherein ang titignan mo dito is the cheaper one if you are mahirap lang. Di ba? Or kaya something na dadagdagan mong bumili ng ganitong product kaysa doon sa kabilang product. Let's say, for example, in the opportunity cost, there is a combinations of what we call on the Coke and the sandwich. If nakita mo, example sana, yung pinaka-normal or kaya ang pinaka balance or ceteris paribus na choice or combinations dito ay 15 and 5. So, 15 pieces of Coke and 5 pieces of number of chicken sandwich. Okay? And paano kaya kapag nagmahal ang Coke? What would be your decision? So kapag alam mong nagmahal yung Coke, ano ang gagawin natin? So syempre, para makabili ka pa rin ng combinations doon sa Coke and sandwich, so babawasan mo ang pagbili ng Coke. Bakit mo babawasan? Dahil nagmahal na yung mismong price. Example sana, ang pera mo mismo sa bulsa mo ay 100 pesos. And every time na bumibili ka, you have enough of resources na 100 pesos. And then, nagkaroon ng increase ng price ng Coke. What should be your preference or what should be your decision so that ma-fulfill pa rin yung satisfaction mo? So, para yung 100 pesos na ito ay kasya kasi nga, Yung combinations na 0 to 30, it means yung price lahat niyan is 100. Kapag i-combine natin ang 3 tapos 9 na chicken sandwich, it means ang price niya is 100. Ganon din ang 6 and 8 pieces of chicken sandwich. So, para ma-fulfill pa rin yung satisfaction mo at hindi ka na magdagdag sa 100 pesos mo, kasi ang pera mo lang is 100 pesos, kailangan mong kailangan mong i-give up kung ilan yung mismong i-give up mo on that particular product na nagmahal. Example sana, ang cola or Coca-Cola or Cokes ang nagmahal, so bababaan natin yung mismong pieces or something, utils na kukunin natin. Kapag sinabi nating utils, we are pertaining about the measurement of that particular product. So, hindi na tayo gumagamit ng meters, ng piece or pieces, or kaya sachet. Hindi na natin ginagamit yon. In overall, in general, ang ginagamit kasi natin in economic sector or in economic activity is util. Kapag sinabi nating util, we are pertaining about the measurement regardless of ano yung gagamitin nating measurement. Kung 1 box, it means 1 util. Kung 1 piece, it means 1 util. Kung ang ginamit mo naman ay 1 gram, it means 1 util. Okay? 1 util pa rin yan. Okay? So, kapag babawasan natin, so ang new combination mo na ay 12 and 6. So, as you can see here, mas dumami na mismo yung pagbili mo ng sandwich na instead na ibibili mo ng Coke because of the increase ng price. So, binaba mo mismo yung pagbili ng Coke upang sa ganon ay makapag-increase ka sa product na chicken sandwich. But, at the end, based on your decision making, na-fulfilled mo pa rin because of ibinagay mo pa rin kung ilan yung resources na pwede mong ipalit para magkaroon ka ng ganoong services or goods. Okay? So, as you can see here, bumaba naman siya dito. Di ba? So, 5. And then, tumaas, I should say. Tumaas naman siya dito. And then, this is, bumaba naman siya. So, that is in the colas. And then, this is for the chicken sandwich. So, as you can see, in the marginality of the choice or in the util or in the marginality of the Coke, in between means that is an opportunity. In between the 15 and 12, that is so-called opportunity. Wherein, nakabili ka or mas dumami yung product na binili mo sa second sandwich kesa sa cola. That is an opportunity. Okay? So, economic ideologies of nation, we have also the capitalism. If we say capitalism, it means they are free enterprise or something that you have a freedom to choose kung ano yung mga product na pwede mong bilhin. So, karamihan ng capitalism is a private property, especially ang palengke or something in the market that the owner are a private property. Okay? So, they have an economic freedom. So, nagkakaroon ng free competitions na kahit dikit-dikit sila doon, hindi sila nag-aaway yung mga competitor. Bakit? Kasi nga, mas naglalaan sila ng mismong consumer or ang tawag dito? Mas naglalaan sila ng freedom or kaya something na ibinibigay nila yung freedom doon sa consumer. Okay? Ibinibigay ng competitor or kaya nung mga seller ang freedom doon sa mismong consumer. So, profit motive, active but limited government. So, hindi ang government ang supervise sa kanila. But, the private property or something that the seller has the power to dictate the price of that product. So, ang nagdi-dictate ng price kasi dito is the seller. Okay? So, active but limited government and self-interest. and they are using of the money. If we say laissez-faire, we are referring to the practice of allowing people or institutions to act or behave however they want. So, with a little or no interference or regulations. Okay? And one thing, kailangan bilang isang seller, in the capitalism, kailangan magiging consumer-oriented sila. If we say consumer-oriented, they are relating to the needs and interests of the individual. Mas pinagbibigyan nila ng oras yung mismong or kaya mas ini-study nila yung pangangailangan ng isang consumer. That is for the capitalism. Hindi naman sila pwedeng magbenta kung hindi naman yun yung preferred ng isang consumer. Okay? Next, latter. Yan. It is a French which means no government are entitled on this uh, economic sector or in the capitalism. Okay? Next, so one of the ideology of the capitalist is providing the needs of uh, other other country or on the other market. Especially, example sana, si Nueva Ecija, sila mismo ang top producing ng onions. Okay? So, si Nueva Ecija, ang titignan niya, ang mas objective ni Nueva Ecija para makabili siya ng ibang product or kaya ang isang institution or ang isang lugar para makabili sila ng product na mafulfill yung satisfaction nila, kailangan nilang magbenta or something na ipagbili or ibenta mismo yung product nila to have a money. Kasi ang intention ng isang institutions or ang isang private property ay kailangan maibenta nila yung goods nila for them na magkaroon ng income. And then yung income na meron sila, so ang purpose nila is to sell. Okay? To make a money. Before they buy. Ganun sila eh. So sa capitalism, mas preferred nilang magbenta muna to have an income. At pag nagkaroon na sila ng income, that's the time na yung income lang yung gagamitin nila for buying the needs of their locality. Example sana, si Nueva Ecija, nakita nila na mas kailangan nila ng mas kailangan ng Pangasinan ng onion. So, ang gagawin naman ni Nueva Ecija, magbebenta siya kay Pangasinan ng onion. And then, si Pangasinan, babayaran yung onion. And then, yung income na makukuha nila dito ay ibibili nila ng coconut because that is demand on their particular area. Okay? So, that is the trends of the capitalists, especially in the use of the money. Okay? So, yun. Next one is communism. So, kapag sinabi natin communism, no private property, dinidictate ito ng government. Wherein, it command the economy or this is a classless economy. No economic freedom, especially kapag mga essential goods. Ang nagdidictate ng price kapag mga essential goods ay mga government or kaya ang government natin. So, pag nag-impose sila ng price, that is the price of all the market. Hindi pwedeng may mas mataas at mas mababa. And at the same time, no free competitions. So, the government is the only seller. So, no profit motives. So, even though sila ay malugi or hindi, basta they impose a price that is communism. So, presence of central planning. So, what are the features of the communism? So, there are essential freedom enjoyed in the capitalist system are eliminated, and the property ceases to be the source of private or individual income. So, the factors of production are owned by the government, which regulates and control their functions in consonance. So, ang example ng isang communism are the South Korea. I should say. South Korea? North Korea, I should say. Hindi pala South Korea. Kasi ang South Korea may freedom sila dun eh. But in the North Korea, kay Kim Jong-un, something na command yung kanyang economy. Siya mismo yung may control sa lahat ng production and output. Wherein yung output and production ay sa kanya mismo. So, it is not owned by the government but owned by the president. Wherein attached to the government. Yan. Kasi siya mismo yung gobyerno eh. So, si Kim Jong-un. So, may self-interest na tinatawag, di ba? So, kapag sinabi nating socialism, that is the combinations of the capitalism and the communism. So, it means they are mixed economy system. So, the major and strategic strategies are owned and managed by the state, while the minor industries belong to the private sectors. So, ano yung mga example ng mga socialism? In terms of major industries, we have the transportations, electrifications, mining, production of essential product. Ang government kasi is nakikipag-partnership din sa private sector. Especially kapag mga major industries like yung Magat Dam natin dito sa Ramon. So yan ay pinagkakakitaan ng private company partnered with the government. Okay? So hindi lahat ng mga establishment dito sa atin, yung mga major industries dito sa Pilipinas are owned by the government. But rather, they allow the private companies private companies to establish a major industry so that makikipag-partner na lang sila. Especially yung transportations, yung mga tren, and then yung mga highways sa Manila. Hindi lang government ang may-ari doon. But the San Miguel Corporations ay nag-establish sila ng sarili nilang highways and then with the partnership to the government sector. Minor industry, example sana yung mga candies, cakes, and the toys. So, one of the features of socialism is operation of the pricing process system, freedom of choice in consumption in the pursuit of occupations. So, a private sector of small producing units ang socialism, and a public sector with overseas with the fulfillment of collective objectives. So, that is for the socialism. Okay? Okay. So, next one is the fascism or Nazism. So, fascism is a system of government led by the dictator who typically rules by the forcefully and often violently suppressing the opposition and criticism, that controlling all the industry and commerce and promoting nationalism and often racism. So the word fascism and Nazi brings to the mind the worst dictators and crimes against humanity. So it means pino-force nila yung isang community na kailangan doon lang sila pwedeng bumili or something na kinokontrol sila ng government. Wherein merong crime against humanity. So it means there is something wrong with the government. Okay? Especially sa North Korea. Next. Okay? So, feudalism. So, kapag sinabi nating feudalism, these are type of social and political system in which the landholders provides land to the tenants in exchange for the loyalty and the services. Example sana, the king will provide a land to the nobles, and the nobles provide also a money and knights to the king. As you can see here, the king provide land to the nobles, and then the nobles provide money and knights to the king. While the nobles provide also land to the knights' vassals to provide a protection and military services to the nobles. And then, ang pinakamahirap dito is the feudal or kaya the peasant, I should say. So, yung peasant naman, provide food and services to the knights. So, wala magpo-protect mismo sa mga peasant natin. Wherein sila yung last absorber or kaya adapter ng mga product or something ng mga lupa na provide ng king kay nobles and kay knights vassals. So, it provides food and services to the knights vassals and then protections to the military services and money to the king. So, ang tawag mo dito is a feudal pyramid of power. Okay? So, yun. Next, punta naman tayo doon sa economic theories. First is the classical economics. If we say classical economics, we are promoting about the laissez-faire, and at the same time, mapapag-usapan sa classical economics or na-develop dito yung tinatawag nating full employment or the trends of the full employment and also the monetary conditions and argues about the government or the role of the government in the economics. Okay? So, number one, under the classical economics is si Adam Smith. So, si Adam Smith is the father of the modern economics. So, that advocate the laissez-faire policy or left-alone policy in the invisible hands theory. So, and then, si Adam Smith naman created a book or published a book entitled The Wealth of Nations, or this is the Bible of the economics for more than century until now. Wherein, si Adam Smith ay nakapag-publish noong 1776. Another one, si David Ricardo. So, proposing the labor theory of value, which state that labor creates value. So, mas pinagtuunan niya ng pansin about doon sa employment or the value of labor in the economic. Because the labor provide production and it provides goods and services so that the satisfaction of human being may fulfill. Elaborated on the theory of value, taxation, and international trade in the classical tradition. Next one, si Thomas Malthus. So, si Thomas Malthus is isang English economist and demographer that directly connected the problems on the economic system to the rapid growth population. So, ang in-study niya dito or something na pinag-aralan niya is about sa populations. Na kapag higher yung populations, mas higher din yung need. Tama ba? So, mas higher din yung pangangailangan ng tao. So, it means there is what we call on direct relationship of the needs of the people and the populations. The need and the populations. Okay? Another one I see John Stuart Mill. So, they are most influential English language philosopher of the 19th century. So, elaborated on the ideas of David Ricardo and Adam Smith. So, here to David Ricardo in the exposition of classical economics and the principle of political economy noong 1848. So, he helped develop the ideas of economics of scale, opportunity cost, and comparative advantage in the trade. Next one is about the neoclassical economics. So in the neoclassical economics, discussed or they are developed about or studied about the cost of production or the supply and also the utility or the demand. So, development also of the microeconomics under the neoclassical and introduce of the economic measurement involving the tools of modern probability and statistics and special techniques. So, who are involved in the neoclassical economics? Number one, I see Leon Walras. So, Leon Walras introduced the general economic system and achieved the analysis of general equilibrium. So, the market equilibrium that can take place only at price where the quantity supplied and demanded are equal. So, siya yung nag-develop or something na discussed or something na dinevelop yung concept about the market equilibrium. So, this is the market equilibrium wherein the inverse line is the demand, and then the direct line is the supply. Wherein ang mismong concept niya dito is the quantity and the price. Okay? So, market equilibrium can take place only at price where the quantity supplied and demanded are equal. Wherein kung saan yung intersection nung supply and demand, that is so-called the market equilibrium. Okay? Next one, I see Alfred Marshall. Develop or something introduced about the concept of price elasticity of the demand, which examine how price changes affect demand. Okay? So in the principle of economics, he emphasized that price and output are determined by supply and demand. So in the principle of economics, siya daw yung nag-emphasize na yung price and yung output determined by supply and the demand. Next one, I see John Maynard Keynes. He is the father of the macroeconomics that published the general theory of the employment, the interest and money in the 1930s. So which changed the focus of the economics to the macroeconomics, national income, employment, general price levels, and fiscal policy. So free market would automatically provide full employment. Okay, yun yung kanyang concept. Next one, I see Karl Marx. Karl Marx is part of the socialist economics. So examining the laws of motion of the capitalist production. So Marxism is a social, political, and economic philosophy named after Karl Marx. So saw a capitalism as a progressive historical stage that would eventually stagnate due to internal contradiction and be followed by the socialism. Next one, last, si Friedrich Engels. So, siya yung collaborator ni Karl Marx in the foundation of communism and co-authored the Communist Manifesto with Marx. In the late 1848, the manifesto was anonymously published by the Workers' Educational Association or the Kommunistischer Arbeiterbildungsverein at the Bishopgate in City of London. Okay? So, yan yung mga economic philosopher natin develop about or kaya studied about the status of the economy in our country, especially in the world. Okay? So, if you have any questions regarding our discussions, you can comment below para at least masagot natin. So, thank you very much guys and God bless.